Hello, and thank you for watching. My name is Rachel Barnett with Gentle Frog. I'm here to create videos for you to help you understand QuickBooks slightly better than you currently do. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them in the chat box. Thank you.
It's that time. I need to file and pay my Washington Department of Revenue Excise or B&O tax return. I'm not going to file it in front of you, but I thought what I could do is just show you what it looks like when you go to file. I'll put in some fake numbers and then I'll turn off the recording and do it for reals. What I did to start is I went to Dor.wa.gov. I'm going to select Login in the upper right-hand corner. I need to enter my SA or Secure Access Washington user ID and my password. I'm going to go ahead and select Login to my DOR. I'm going to get a two-factor code. I'm just going to ask for it to be texted to me. So I'm going to say I want to receive it via text. The prefix for the code, it's always different. I'm looking at the last 6 or 8 codes I've gotten. The prefix is always different. So yours will look different than mine. No big deal. Nobody cares. You'll just click on Submit. It asks if you want to remember the device. I clear my cache and cookies so often that it doesn't actually remember my device. So I'm going to choose Submit. From here, what I want to do is just click on the green Get Started. I could absolutely click on something else down here and eventually get where I need to go. This is just fast. When I log in, I see all the clients that I have access to. All I'm really going to do is work on my own. When you log in, you might see a list or it might take you straight into your account. I don't actually know. So in my case, I'm going to click on my business name. I'm now logged in. It says I need to file my annual 2023 return. It's due by April 15th of 2024. So I'm actually way earlier than I thought. For some reason, I was like, oh, this is a January thing. I got to get it done in January. Whatever. It helps you no matter when I record this. I can see across the top that I have an action item. Probably just says file your return, but let's take a look. To see my action items, I'm just going to click on the tab. It just says I need to file my return. So awesome. That's what I'm here to do. I'm going to go back to summary. When I look at the right-hand side of my screen, I can see I have the option to make a payment, but I have no balance due, so there's no payment to make. I can add or update the electronic refund account. I don't have a refund coming to me either, so that doesn't matter. I can file my return. I can request a return extension. It says I can view periods and amend returns. That's kind of a weird statement, but if I click on it, I'll show you what it looks like. From here, I'm able to view my previous tax returns. I file the Department of Revenue once a year, so my annual returns since the beginning. So interesting, but not anything I really care about right now. I'm going to go back. I can apply for a reseller permit. I don't have any intention in doing that. I can update my DBA. I can close my Excise account. Just a quick refresher, B&O stands for Business and Occupation, which is a synonym for Excise. I have more options. I'm going to scroll down. The other options I have is I can print my business license. I can view add my reendorsements. I can hire employees, minors. You get the idea. There's all kinds of things I can do. If it has something to do with my business and the state of Washington, I can probably do it from here. Back to the task at hand, we need to file a return. I'm just going to click on the hyperlink for file return. On the first screen of the excise tax, I can identify what do I want to do. Do I want to report that I've had no business, like everything is dormant? No. Do I want to upload a file? No. I'm sure bigger corporations, they upload files. If you're watching this YouTube video, you're probably like me. It's probably very simple. You're not overly complicating it. You're just going to enter your numbers. Down below, I have this blue button to add delete tax classifications. The only tax classification that applies to me is in the B&O category, as opposed to sales tax. And it specifically is the service and other. Let me go ahead and click on this so you can see what your options are. You can see that I have business and occupation. These are the different kinds of business and occupation. If my business was doing something other than providing services, I could be like, oh, I need to report these other revenue streams. Sales and use tax, I can click if I want to report any of those. Public utilities? No, I can barely manage my own household. I'm definitely not a public utility. Location-based taxes, I'm looking at this and I'm like, no, none of those. And then quantity taxes, none of these. So if you're setting this up for the first time or you're just curious what's behind the scenes, you can click into it, you can look at it, you're not going to break anything. When you're satisfied that you have selected all the boxes that are relevant to your business, you'll click on Next in the lower right-hand corner. In the main header of Business and Occupation, right, there's Business and Occupation, and then there's Retail with sales tax, and there's some other stuff. The only thing that applies to me is Business and Occupation, so I only have this one header. It says, okay, well, out of the different types of B&O tax, I indicated that I need to report some service and other. And it says service and other activities or gambling contests of chance less than $50,000 a year. I'm pretty good to lose about $100 a year in gambling. I have never made more than $1,000, let alone more than $50,000. So, gambling and contests of chance, not really an issue for my business. So my gross amount, we're going to make believe that it's $100,000. So I just type in my $100,000. I can add deductions if any deductions apply to me. In the state of Washington, you are not deducting your expenses. They only care about the money you've collected. I want to say that differently. You have to report all of the money that you've collected. So if you took money through Stripe or PayPal and they took a haircut, Washington wants to know about the money before the haircut. If you went somewhere and you got your travel reimbursed, Washington wants to know about the money you've collected. Washington does not care about any of your expenses. Okay, so I'm just going to look through these deductions. None of them apply to me, but I thought if I click into this, you won't have to. You might be looking at this and think, well, what about bad debt? Did you report the income you were expecting to receive? In my case, I don't. I'm on a cash basis. I'm going to tell Department of Revenue about the money I really got, not about the money I was hoping to get. Which means that if somebody doesn't pay me, I don't get to deduct the bad debt because I never told them about the money in the first place. No farms here, no gambling, nonprofit, other, none of this applies to me. If you're ever curious what something is, the question marks are a really good resource. You can click on the question mark, takes you to a list. You can look at the things. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. None of it applies to me. So now when I look this over, I've said I had $100,000 worth of revenue over the course of last year because my return is for a whole year. Yours might be for a month, for the quarter, or for the year. I've reviewed for any deductions. I have determined I have no deductions. I have a taxable amount of $100,000. I have a tax rate of 0.015. My tax due is $1,500. Now down below it says, here's the total of your business and occupation tax. If I had more lines, that total would be more useful. When I look at this, I'm just like, yeah, it's the same as the line up above. Okay, fine. No big deal. We got this. Now in the lower left-hand corner, it says business and occupation credits. The software is automatically going to figure out if I'm entitled to a small business credit. So I didn't have to do anything to make this happen. The software said service and other, $1,500, small business credit, 0. The total B&O credit is $1,500. This will make sense in just a moment. I'll click on next. Now I've got my summary. So my summary says period begins, period ends, amount, deductions, taxable amount, tax due. And then it kind of scoots down, and in the lower left-hand corner, tax due is $1,500 less or minus the credits. Now the tax due is $0. Thank you, small business credits. Prepared by, this is where I fill in my information, and I would click submit. If I'm working on this and I want to go double check something, I'm not ready to submit, I can click Save Draft in the lower left-hand corner. it's just going to save it for me, and it'll be available for me to edit later. What I'm going to do is go back and put in my real numbers. What I wanted to do is just give you a slow and careful walkthrough. My books and my example may not be perfect for what you need, but sometimes when someone walks through it, it just feels less intimidating. Also, you can see that by clicking on the things and pressing next, nothing accidentally gets submitted without your consent. If you feel uncertain about anything that I've described for you, you're always welcome to call the Department of Revenue. Like with any agency, you're going to get some good apples and some bad apples. For the most part, I've had really good luck. I call them up and I say, I want to do the best job I can do. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. Can I describe for you the circumstance of my business? And can you just walk me through what I should be clicking on? They've been happy to do it. If you feel like you want something in writing, somebody to really look at your situation and give you advice on what they recommend, what you want to do is request a ruling. So if you go to Dor.wa.gov, it takes you back to the Department of Revenue website. You can search for a ruling request. I'm going to go ahead and search for this. When you request a ruling, you'll get a form that looks like this. You'll be able to describe your business and your situation. Somebody from the Department of Revenue will look it over. If you've provided enough information, they'll send you back a binding ruling of what applies for your business. I'll put the link for this in the notes so that you have it. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, if there's anything you'd like to see me demonstrate, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments down below. Thank you and have a great day.